So now with AI all around us, there's so many things that we can have done very, very quickly and efficiently. So things like images, generating code, generating articles, pretty much doing all kinds of tasks that were seemingly very, very hard or difficult or time consuming even 6 months ago. But still, there is one bottleneck that's going to make the difference between how effective you are at giving commands to these various models, whether it's creating images or writing essays or doing homework or building apps by generating code. And that is what kind of prompt that you give a certain app. Because you see, it's all about prompts these days. Prompt engineering is now a thing. And so you really have to know how to give the correct instructions in order to get the correct answers, right? As they say, garbage in, garbage out. You give a crappy prompt, you're going to have a crappy result. You give a quality prompt, you're going to get quality results. Here are some really good examples of MidJourney prompts. And MidJourney is a popular image generation site, right? So you can have this image generated, but you need to know the prompt, right? And here's the prompt, here's another image, here's another image. And so it's all about prompts these days. If you know the right prompt, you're going to get the right result. So with that said, I actually went out and built a prompt marketplace where everybody can either buy or sell various prompts for various AI models. And so in today's video, I'm going to be showing you a proof of concept app so that you can see how it works. And then we're going to jump back inside my no-code builder of choice, which is Flutterflow. And I'm going to show you exactly how I build this app so that you can build one just like it. Now, before we get started, as always, all the apps that I built on this channel, including this one, you can easily view and or clone them when you join our amazing Patreon community. And you're going to see a link to it in the description below. All right, so here's the app inside of Flutterflow, which is a very, very powerful no-code builder. And before I actually show you how I designed and built this app, let's go ahead and run it first. Let's go ahead and start a new test environment. All right, so here's the app. And the first thing that you need to do is you need to log in. The app needs to know who you are before it can show you relevant information. So you can sign in, and you can also create a new account. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in using my account. All right, I just signed in. And what we're seeing here is, well, a few things. First, it says, hello, James No Code, which is my account name. We also have a little icon to see the shopping cart. We can search by prompts. And then we can also see various categories of prompts. So in this case, we have 3 types of categories. The first one is stable diffusion. We have GPT prompts, and MJ stands for MidJourney. And just below, we're actually seeing the prompts. And in fact, what you're seeing is the result, right? You're seeing the actual image generated, or you may be seeing some kind of a GPT report that was generated off a specific prompt. And so you can click on each individual item if you're interested in learning more information or perhaps purchasing it, okay? So for instance, let's say I'm looking at this image and I say to myself, I really want to know the prompt that was used in order to generate this image. Okay, so I'm going to click on it. We see the image. We see the price. Let's say in this case is $22. Prompt is hidden. And we're also seeing the seller. So in this case, this is a demo version. So I'm actually seeing prompts that I myself may have created and may be selling. Of course, in the production version, you're not going to be seeing your own prompts, okay? And so this is me right here. This is my own prompt. It belongs to me. And I can do 2 things at this point, right? I can purchase this prompt outright, or I can add it to cart. Okay, so let's say I want to add it to cart. Maybe I want to shop around, buy some more prompts. I'm going to say add to cart. This is add it to cart. And then I can click this button and I can look at my cart, right? So I can see the individual items. SD, in this case, this is stable diffusion prompt, $22, and we have the order summary, right? The total, $22. So let's say I go back and let's say I want to buy this prompt. I'm going to say add to cart. I can come back here and I see both of these prompts. So now I have one prompt for $22, another one for $33 for a grand total of $55, okay? I can also delete them right here, right? So let's say I don't want this prompt, I can delete it, and now we have the order total for $33, right? So I can do a checkout, and in this case, payment confirmed, $33, etc., etc. Now, of course, in the production version, it's going to connect to Stripe, and it's going to actually, process your credit card. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. But right now, I'm just showing you the flow, right? So we have payment confirmed, and I can go home, okay? And of course, as I'm browsing, I can click on different category types just to look at specific prompts. So things like SD, I'm looking at Stable Diffusion, GPT. In this case, I'm also showing you images. But of course, if you want to buy like a GPT prompt, you're going to see maybe a screenshot of the report generated, right? So there's so many interesting things that you can do with GPT. You just need to know the right prompt. And so you're going to see maybe a screenshot of the actual GPT prompt. And you can click on MJ and you're going to see MidJourney prompts. And these are in fact MidJourney prompts, okay? Now, as I said before, you can be a customer, right? So what I'm doing right now, or I can actually be a seller, right? You can be both. So if you want to sell your own prompts, you can click here and you're going to be at your dashboard. And here you are viewing a list of the prompts that you own. So prompts assigned to you. Okay. So you can click here and you can edit some information, right? You can do that. You can edit all of these prompts if you want. And so at this point, let's say I want to add a new prompt. Let's say I have a cool prompt that I want to sell. And so all I need to do is click here and I can upload a photo, a screenshot or a photo that was generated with that specific prompt. So I can click here and upload it. So let's say I want this guy right here. That's an interesting image rather. And let's say this is going to be an expensive, let's say it's, I don't know, $100. Okay. And then we're going to come here and we're going to copy and paste just a random prompt. Okay. And I'm going to say add prompt. Okay. And so this prompt that we've just added is now here. So I can click on it and I can see this prompt right here. Okay. And so this thing is automatically for sale. I just added it. It's now for sale. People can now buy, right? So if we go back here, it's right here, right? This is the prompt right here. And so obviously, as I'm logged in, I shouldn't be able to buy my own prompts. Okay, so in the production version, we're going to have a filter where it's not going to display your own prompt. So I can come in here and I can say add to cart. I can go to my cart, $100, check out, and now we've bought the prompt. And once we buy the prompt, we're going to get maybe an email confirmation, or we're going to go into our own, customer dashboard and see the actual prompts that were used in order to get the result that we were looking for. All right, so now that you've seen the app, let's go back into Flutterflow and let me show you exactly how I build this app, because there's lots of little gotchas and lots of little techniques that you're going to learn that are going to help you in your no-code development. Now, the first thing I want to show you are the data sources, okay? And we're going to start with Firestore DB. So if we click here, I have two collections, right? I don't have any sub collections. I just have two top-level collections. So we have the users here, which is created for you automatically once you configure Flutterflow with Firestore DB, right? So if you come back here and you click on Firebase, you configure your project here, and then you go into authentication, you enable it. It's going to create your users collection automatically, right? It's going to be done automatically. It's not going to do anything else, right? But it's going to create that users collection, okay? So assuming you've done that, you're going to have this users, right? This is standard. I did not modify it. The next thing is the products, right? And this is the products. This is the prompts, right? This is a top level collection. And we have the following fields. We have UID, which is a reference to the user, right? Because every prompt is going to be associated with the user, the person who created it, right? The creator. We have the actual prompt. We have the type of prompt. We have the price, and we have the image URL so that we can, display the thumbnail so that people can see the end result. Okay, so just very, very simple. We have just two collections, okay? Now, let me show you the app state. Okay, so in the app state, we have two fields, and you're gonna learn why that is, because there's a little gotcha here. The first is the cart, right? So the cart is an app state, okay? As the person is adding items to the cart or removing items from the cart, we're going to be tracking that as part of the app state. So we have cart here, which is a list of document references, basically a list of references to products, right? It's basically an array of products. And then we have a cart total separately, right? Which is an integer that we calculate dynamically as the person is adding things to cart or removing. So we are, adding things as they're adding to the cart or removing as they're removing from the cart, right? And we have to do it separately, and you're going to learn why we need to do it separately. This is going to be very, very helpful, okay? So now that you've kind of seen the main data sources, let's go ahead and jump into the app and let me show you how things are done. So we have, your basic login screen. This is Flutterflow standard, right? You can just get any login screen. I'm just using email password authentication. You can also have Gmail, Google authentication, Facebook, etc., etc. But I recommend just starting it, from simple, starting it simple, in the sense that you want to make sure your app works before you add more providers. All right, so we have the login screen, and then we have the main home page, right? So on this home page, we are doing a bunch of things, right? So for instance, we have these categories here. This is a list view. And what we need to do is we need to pull just the types, right? So, if you have a lot of products, you need to pull just the types, right? So what we need to do in this case is we have a list view. And instead of doing a backend query, which doesn't really make sense in this case, I'm doing dynamic children. I have a custom function that all it does, it takes the list of documents from the database, and essentially it maps it, right? So it goes for each of these documents, it just gets the type. And we have this toSet and toList. And the purpose of that is, as I explained in many other previous videos, is that you want to remove duplicates. And that is a pattern that's very, very common in order to remove duplicates, right? This thing wants a list, but a set is essentially a list with no duplicates. So we convert it to a set first, which removes the duplicates, and then we convert it back to a list because it wants a list. And in this case, this is going to be a list with no duplicates. So this is perfect. And we just want the type right here. So, which is categories, right? Essentially, it's categories or type. It's the same thing. So this function essentially returns a list of types. And of that, we have a list here. So we have a list view, and this particular list view is horizontal, right? You may be used to list views that are kind of one on top of the other, right? Vertical. In this case, this is horizontal, right? Which is the same thing, and we're just displaying category item. Now, I have a cool thing there going. I have a cool effect, right? So when you select, it highlights it, right? You select it, it highlights it. And the way I'm doing it is, if we go in here, I have a stack, and the reason I have a stack so that I can have two widgets inside of it, right? Two child widgets, and depending on the type, right? And the type is actually stored as a page parameter, page state, right? So we have this type filter that's stored on the page because this is only valuable on this page, right? I can have it as an app state, but it's kind of an overkill for an app state. App state is like cards. App state is something that can be used by the entire app, like throughout the entire app. In this case, this filter is perfect for this particular page. And so when they click on something, we set the filter, right? We have this action here, and that sets the filter. So we come in here, we set the filter to the category item that they clicked. And also we display the selected. So we have two of them, and the selected is this blue one, the non-selected is grayish. So the selected, it's gonna be displayed using conditional visibility. So we say type filter is equal to category item, and this thing says type filter does not equal to category item, right? Which is that gray default one, okay? So very, very simple, but a nice touch. And then we have this list, right? So if we come in here, we have this list right here, right? So if we come in here, we have this list view. Actually, it's this one right here, this wrap, not a list view. It's actually a wrap in this case. And that allows us to wrap items, right? So a list view, it can only do it, horizontally or vertically, whereas a wrap can just wrap around the specific boundary of the widget, which is perfect for us because we can have a wrap. The other thing that you can do is you can also do a grid if you want, right? Grid is another thing that you can do. So we have a wrap here, and that does a backend query, and we have a filter because we're filtering by the type. And we're also going to have a filter that's going to filter out the logged in user so that the logged in user does not see their own prompts, okay? We're going to have that as well in the production version. And now it's just displaying different items. So we're displaying the image URL, we're displaying the price, etc., etc. Next, if they click on it, right, we have an action that goes to product detail, right, which is this product detail right here. And so if we go to product detail, we just display the details. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do with product detail is we need to load the document because we're passing the reference. This is a pattern that I use everywhere, right? I use it everywhere. I talked a lot about this in my course. Very, very useful patterns. And so if you guys want to know more patterns, I talk a lot about them in my training, which is in the description below. But these patterns, they save you so much time and so much hassle. So we're passing by the reference, the product reference. But the first thing that we need to do is we need to get the product information. So I'm using this this query here, which is this document from reference. Very, very useful. And now we just display. So this is image, this is price. And for this one right here, the seller, I'm also pulling in the seller information just to make it available here. It's the same logic, the same pattern, but we don't need it everywhere on the page. We just need it here. And that way I can display the seller's photo and the seller's name here, okay? Now we have purchase, add to cart. So purchase redirects to cart. Add to cart just adds to cart, right? So if you click on add to cart, for instance, we are updating app state. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to add that particular item to the cart. The next thing we need to do is we need to update the total. And the reason we're doing that, this is very, very important, is that your app state, it cannot have a list of documents. It can only have a list of references to those documents. And that is fine, but there's a problem. And the problem is you can't dynamically get values from those documents because all you have are references. Okay, you can display them, but you can't dynamically like calculate the sums. You don't have access to the fields in those documents from like a custom function. It's very, very difficult to do it. It's very, very cumbersome. And so if you're dealing with app state and you need to dynamically calculate based on the fields of those documents, right, from those references, your best bet is to do it separately. So like I'm doing here, I'm storing the total separately as a cart total, and then I'm just, adding, I'm adding values to it, right? I'm summing it up as customers add items to cart. And then I'm also, removing, I'm subtracting values as people remove various items from the carts. And this way it works. It's another pattern. It's another pattern to kind of understand because like I said, in the app state, you can't do documents, and that's fine. References are, it's a good way of doing it, except it's very cumbersome to access the actual data inside your custom functions when you're dealing with references. And this thing just redirects to cart, right? Next, we have the product detail, we have the login, we have the cart, we also have the confirmation screen, which is this confirmation screen right here. That's gonna get displayed after they purchase everything, right? And it's the same thing. We're just displaying the total here, which is the app state cart total. This app state cart total as well, right? We have the app state cart total, and then we can just go home, which redirects them to the home page. Now, the next thing I want to show you is the seller's dashboard, right? So if you go to dashboard, we are listing just the seller's items, right? So if you come in here, we have this list view, and we are querying a list of documents where the UID of the particular product is equal to the user record reference, because we're storing references for each of the products. And then we're just saying, okay, we only want the products that are linked to the authenticated user. And that way, if I log in, I see my own products. And so I see some information about them. But then if I click on this container, right, this item in here, it's going to go to edit product. We're going to go to edit product, and then we have the screen where you can edit products, right? So very, very simple flow. If they hit save, we're just updating the document with these values, but there's something else, which is add product, right? So if you want to add a new product, typically when this loads, they're not going to see an image. They're going to see a kind of a container that's going to tell them to upload the image, right? And I have a stack here. And so depending on whether they uploaded the image or not, we either display like a blank, container with instructions, or we display an image that they've uploaded. So after they've uploaded the image, we're going to display the image. Before that, we're going to display instructions. And this is what the stack is doing again. And so if they click on user image, we're going to have this flow here. So if we open it up, we have upload media to Firebase. We're using Firebase storage. You can easily configure that. You're going to be given instructions when you're doing these upload widgets to configure it. And once they upload it, they're going to see the image now, right? Because we have this image has this conditional visibility. It's not going to show if uploaded file is set not empty, right? So if the upload file URL, you know, if you uploaded the file, this is going to be set. It's not going to be empty. And because this is after this, we don't have to worry about conditional visibility for this. We only have to worry about it for this, right? Because if I remove this, you're going to see the default state. If I click this, you're going to see the after state after the upload. So once you add prompt, you're adding all of this and you're navigating back to the dashboard. And that's pretty much it, right? There's all of these things that you can do, a lot of interesting things that you can do. And then last but not least, if you go to settings and integrations and you go into Stripe, you can enable Stripe payments. You can put your, you should do with testing, publishable key, secret key, and then you'll be actually able to use Stripe for payment. So if you come back over here, once you've enabled it, right? So if you come in here to our cart, right? You come in here, you do a checkout, you open it, right? Before you navigate to confirm, what you can do is you can just search for Stripe and you can do Stripe payment, okay? After you configure everything, right? After you configure it, you're going to see a screen where you just need to enter the amount, the currency, and all that. And what you want to do is you want to have it above. You want to have it above. So after you configure it, you can just have the Stripe payment here, and that's going to charge the user, and they're going to get access to the prompts. Now, I first recommend that you do it in the test environment, right? So if you come back here and you go to Stripe payment, you enable, you go to Stripe, you enable Stripe payments. You don't want to do production. You want to just get your test keys, and it's the same thing, right? The thing about Stripe is you have your production environment and you have your test environment. So you can just configure your Stripe keys. You can also do Braintree. You can do some of these other ones if that's what you want. I actually have a Stripe account, so that's what I use in this marketplace. Now, if you're interested in implementing this for real, you want to modify a couple of things, you want to add some more functionalities, or you want to change it around and maybe sell some kind of other products, then you definitely owe it to yourself to view and or clone this app exactly how I'm seeing it right now. And you can do just that when you join our amazing Patreon community. And remember, inside of our Patreon community, you're going to get access to all the Flutterflow apps that I built on this channel. And that means you can view and or clone a rich collection of apps that do pretty much anything. I built apps in all kinds of different niches that do all kinds of different things. And so chances are, if you're struggling with something, maybe you're building an app inside Flutterflow, you're struggling with a particular problem, chances are I probably have solved it, or at least one of my apps will help to lead you on the right path to success. But not only that, not only will you get access to all the apps inside of my Patreon community, you're also gonna get access to some amazing content, such as Q&As, live streams, behind the scenes content, and my Patreon exclusive masterclass series where I do a deep dive of a specific topic that the community votes on. And in fact, I'm going to be doing another deep dive very, very shortly. So definitely stay tuned for that. And so if you're doing no-code development and you're looking to get ahead, you're looking to build that one app or many, many apps, then you definitely owe it to yourself to check out our amazing Patreon community and become a member. And you can learn more about it in the description just under this video. So I really hope to see you there. Now, if you guys enjoyed this video right here, I actually have another series where I was building another marketplace, very, very similar to this one, just different products that we were gonna sell. And you're gonna see a link to that series in the corner of your screen right now. And so definitely check out that series. You are gonna learn a ton.